And we are live.
Yeah,
Hola, Tony. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
You speak Spanish?
Más o menos, ahí le caigo huevo.
But excelente. No,
Pues
but
tenía que aprender por haciendo asesino.
claro. Y, but Dino, he speaks Spanish.
Yeah, he can get away with it. He'll get stuck more frequently than I will. Uh, Emilio, on the other hand, he'll just straight up make up shit. Like uh, there was one time we were playing in Monterrey, and
Mm,
we were setting up for sound check, and he's setting up his drums, and he asked for his cymbals,
right.
but he didn't. I he was confused in the word, so instead of asking for cymbals, he asked for bananas. He said, "Dónde están mis plátanos?" Instead of peas. Fucking the his drum tech, being a smartass, went into the dressing room and grabbed a bunch of bananas and like, here you go.
That's
He was like,
awesome.
what is this?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
That's
that's me.
awesome.
Not the
So
sharpest knife in the drawer, but a goddamn good drummer.
yeah, no, it's great. Well, we were sticking in English, or I think
All right.
will be okay. And first of all, I really thank you for accepting my invitation.
Yeah.
And well, you're a legend. You have played in so many events, so
Yeah, it
I
depends on.
will. Yeah, uh, but it will be nice if you can just introduce yourself, just a little introduction to people who don't know you.
Uh,
Or
I think the little scrolly thing on the bottom
yeah, yeah,
says,
that's good.
it's missing a couple of bands,
Yeah,
Possessed and
there was too many.
Prong. And Prong, yeah.
Prong,
One of my favorite gigs I got to do. That was
really?
such.
Prong?
Yeah, dude. The two bands that Static X ripped off the most were Ministry and Prong. So
Hmm.
for me, playing both those bands is
Yeah.
monumental for
So I
me.
will do the introduction for you. Tony Campos, legend. Uh, he played bass in so many huge bands like, well, you can see it.
Let's write them
Static
down.
X, Soulfly, Ministry, Possessed, Fruit
Asesino,
Factory, Asesino, and Prong.
Possessed, and Prong. Yeah.
Yeah,
A few
no,
others.
that's crazy.
Yeah, I know, man.
So
Lucky motherfucker. What can I tell you?
no, you're not lucky. You're I don't know. I think you're talented. That's why people ask you to
Oh, I
play
got to be doing
bass.
something right because people keep asking me to play bass for them. So
Yeah, but also you have the attitude. I think that help.
no, yeah,
But good, you can have a great musician. That's weird. I can hear myself, but um, you can be a great musician, but if you don't have attitude on the stage, is
yeah. I mean that's true. Like a lot of the job is just being able to get along with people because you gotta live with people on a bus or travel with
hmm,
them on an airplane, and you're with these people for so long amount of time that if you can't get along with people, then you could be Ingve, and no one will care because they can't stand to be around you. You know?
sure. Yes, like to be in a family.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. It really is.
Mm,
And especially when you work with the Cavaliers, that they're literally a family. It's all the family members out on tour together. So you kind of like have to be a part of that. And so if you can't get along with people, that's not going to work.
sure. And can you tell us a little about your beginning? Because what
Uh,
what was your first band?
First band, ooh, what was that? I mean, technically, it really wasn't a band because uh, it was just me and a buddy, a friend that actually got me to start playing bass. Just jamming in my garage. I don't even think we had a name.
Well,
I
it's a
guess the
start.
first, yeah. I guess the first real band I was in. This was in high school, and a couple buddies from high school. They were actually in a class year ahead of me. And we were called Mad Infantry. We were kind of like a thrash punk rock kind of
Cool.
thing. Yeah, just a bunch of kids. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing.
And you always play bass, or you start with?
Yeah. No, I've always played bass. I mean, I fuck around with the guitars, the drum kit over here. I fuck around with. Um, but yeah, bass has always been my main.
And there was something that attracted you to that instrument, or?
No, it's just that aforementioned friend of mine. Uh, uh, I had known him since we were like in elementary school, and then he moved out of the neighborhood. Junior high, he moved back into the neighborhood, and he was a metalhead, and he played guitar. He's like, "Hey Tony, go get a bass." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so I went and worked at the garment factory my dad worked at for the summer, and then I made enough money to buy a shitty $100 copy of a P bass made out of plywood. It was like this thick, and it weighed like 80 pounds.
Well,
But I had a bass. But yeah, that's why I started playing bass. Because my friend was like, "Hey, go get a bass." I was like, "Okay."
No, but I think often, well, I don't know if for every musician it's the same, but your first instrument that you bought is actually not the best one. I remember I had a guitar that was a kind of a copy of the guitar of Metallica of James Hetfield.
Oh, okay.
And this guy
My first
had a distortion on the guitar, like a switch that had an overdrive that was awful, was terrible. It looked great, but
yeah. No, my dad. My dad had a few acoustic guitars laying around that I would pick up from time to time, but I never really like actually got into it until my friend was like, "Hey, go get a bass, start a band." I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah." That was it.
No, but that's cool. So then you start with little bands, and then your first band was Static X.
First professional band, yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah, I mean, I was in a few other bands before that. I was in a death metal band for like 10 years before Static X. The only cool thing we ever did was we got to play the Milwaukee Metal Fest one year. But yeah, Static was the first professional band, first signed act.
No, that's cool. So you always feel attracted to metal since the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, my neighbors were hardcore punks. The skater punks. They had a half pipe in their backyard, and so every day after they would skate and listen to Black Flag, Circle Jerks, DRI, shit like that. And
Great.
that's my introduction into extreme music. So I was a punker kid before I got into metal, and it was my aforementioned friend that got me to play bass who introduced me to metal, introduced me to Sabbath and Maiden and Scorpions and shit like that. And but I was first a hardcore punker kid.
Oh, that's great. So you have to thank your neighbors to introduce you to that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if I knew where they were.
Oh, that's great. So how is the beginning of Static X? Because I remember when you guys appeared in the metal scene, it was like, wow. I was always fan of industrial music, since the beginning, like, I don't know, with T Groups or Frontline Assembly. And but you guys were like so was like I don't know, was so heavy. The electronic was really well mixed. The production was awesome. Was kind of simple. You know, there were no riff like. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
simple, but punch in the face.
Was, you know, it was by design to keep it simple. I mean, especially at the time, it like the shreddy thing wasn't
Mm,
really popular
mm,
around that time. And Wayne wasn't that kind of guitar player. Koichi was, but I think at the time he was more into the programming and the electronics, which
mm,
a big addition that he brought into Static X.
mm. So how the project start was like.
Well, I met Kenny and Wayne. Was it like '94 maybe? I actually met Kenny first. We both worked at Ticketmaster, and yeah, I was still playing in that death metal band at the time, but we had nowhere to rehearse. We hadn't done a gig in like 6 months, and Kenny initially offered me the gig. He asked me to try out, and I turned him down. So I was like, "Nah, I got this death metal band, you know." But then after I thought about it for a week, and I was like, "You know what? Fuck it. Let me go jam with these guys. I ain't doing shit anyway." So I went and jammed with them, and it was different. It was kind of a grungy, uh, heavy thing. Um, and it was different from anything else I'd ever done. So I was like, yeah, all right, I'll keep jamming with these guys. And then as the years went on, the death metal band fell apart, and
Mm.
I was like, well, I'll keep jamming with these guys. And
And jamming with the first members of Static X, there were already electronics involved, or was just
no, that didn't come till later. We went through a couple of different sounds, just
mm,
trying to find something cool to do. Like we started out with that grungy thing, and we went through like a hardcore punk phase where we were doing Black Flag and Circle Jerks covers. And, we were
cool?
just trying a bunch of different things, and then
Mm.
one day Wayne came into the rehearsal room with the HR-16 drum machine, and he's, hey, check this out. And he hits play, and he starts playing a riff over the top,
Mm.
and we were like, yeah, let's rip off Ministry and Prong, and that's what we stuck with. So yeah, that's how the sound came about.
But you really think that you were ripping off Ministry, or
Yeah, I mean they were a huge influence on us for sure.
yeah? But for me, it was kind of different because
Yeah,
well,
well, I mean, that combined with the the Prong record at the time, Rude Awakening, that
mm,
was a big influence on us too, and that was a really heavy record, but it had a lot of really cool electronics. And then another thing that was a big influence on us was my cat going nuts. Um, yeah, I hear you. The soundtrack for the movie Spawn.
oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was such an awesome record, and that was a big influence on us too.
I miss that kind of experiment. You
Yeah,
know,
right. Yeah, that was such a cool thing.
yeah, just grab a electronic producer, mix it with a metal band, and see
Mhm.
what happens.
Yeah, it was very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. No, was the first record Wisconsin Dead Trip was it really blew my mind. I was always a metal fan, a, a metalhead, but also I love electronics, and this was really well mixed.
Yeah, I kind of went in the other way. I was a metalhead, and then I got into ministry, uh, and then that turned me on to stuff uh, that Koichi and Wayne were
Mm,
listening to, like Chemical Brothers, Dust Brothers,
mm,
Prodigy. That
mm.
stuff was a big influence on us too.
And what about the look? How that
You know,
happened?
yeah, I really can't put my finger on it, man. But when I first met Wayne, he looked like Ian Astbury from the Cult. He had straight long hair and
Really?
wore like vests and bell bottom pants, and he looked nothing like what he eventually turned into, you know. And then one day, both him and Ken decided, fuck it, and they shaved both their heads. And and then Kenny let his grow out a bit and did his thing, and I never noticed it until just one day. It was like, "The fuck you doing?" And I'm like, "All right, cool. That's what you want to go for. Go for it, man."
It
Uh,
remind me. Oh, sorry.
yes,
Wrong.
somebody's
Wrong
doing a
button.
Google search.
No, I what? No.
Oh, there it is again. Who wants to find
uh,
out?
no, I
Um,
just wanted to show you something
oh,
because
okay.
I don't know. You're aware. You're a geeky guy, but you know
Oh yeah, yeah. No, you know what?
it
it's,
looks
it's
a
kind
lot to that.
of that, but um, yeah, it reminded me more of I don't know if you're into video games, but there's a character in Street Fighter 2 called Guile, and his hair is like straight up like Wayne's, and Wayne had did not like video games. He had no inclination, no knowledge of video games. So, I had accused him of, oh, you got that look from Street Fighter, and he was like, the fuck's that? So like,
Then
okay,
what?
yeah, see, yeah. I mean, this is a little more flat. I mean, depending on
Yeah,
the
we
the
we
rendition.
can just
Yeah, but
we can
you
see
know,
the influence, maybe.
yeah. But he was like, what the fuck is Street Fighter? Yeah.
No, that's great. But it really, I think, to help to identify a
Oh
little of
yeah,
the look.
definitely. Yeah, I like to make the analogy, um, that Wayne, the Iron Maiden analogy, that Wayne was our Bruce Dickinson and our Eddie. He was the singer and the mascot. And I know Wayne would hate that comparison because he fucking hated Iron Maiden and he hated Bruce Dickinson.
But how was I don't know, the composition process with the Static X?
Well, back then, Wayne would come in with the drum machine and a guitar riff or two, and then we'd all just jam it out and write songs that way. That's how all the songs that ended up on Wisconsin Death Trip got written.
So you were jamming without a drummer?
No, Kenny.
Ah, okay,
Yeah, Kenny was in the picture from day one.
okay,
Yeah, he moved to L.A. with Wayne in
okay,
like '94.
okay. No, that's great. And well, you guys released a bunch of albums, and well, then took happened, and I don't know how many albums you guys released already. It was like
Like 7, 8,
yeah,
maybe. Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
no,
crazy.
but it was huge. And you at the same time you were working in other projects, or you were
Uh,
full time?
well, I was doing, when we had time off, I would do, Asesino
Hmm.
with from Fear
Yeah.
Factory.
Can you talk a little about Asesino? What is the concept behind that? Or
The original idea, as far as I understand it, the original idea was that all the members of Brujeria were going to do
Hmm?
solo, and so
Right.
and Asesino was going to be the first of the Brujeria members' solo albums, and they were already talking while we were in the studio doing that first Asesino record. They were already talking about the Peachy Peach record and the I think maybe the Ongle record, um, but those never materialized. And so we did the record, and I was like, man, this is such a fucking blast. Let's do a show. So we did one show out in somewhere out in East LA. I forget where. Yeah, some little tiny club, and that was the only gig we ever got to do with Raymond Herrera when he was still. But yeah, that's how Asesino got started.
And what about Raymond? He is still playing in bands, or
I really don't know. It's been several years since I've seen him, and I really didn't get to talk to him a whole lot. So I really don't know what's up with him.
Okay. But you also play. That brings me to.
He's an awesome drummer.
Yeah, I remember when Fear Factory started was like a machine. But then I guess he started like a company to make music for video games or something like that.
Yeah, he really got into that. So he's probably.
So maybe he's still doing it, and yeah. And that brings me to Fear Factory, because you start to play with them for their last album, or before that?
The Genexus record, yeah.
So it's because of your relation that you already have with Dino.
Yeah. It was funny, just the timing of all that, because I was out on tour. I was working with Ministry at the time, and we were out on tour in Australia, doing one of the touring festivals they used to have down there, and Fear Factory was on the bill, and so Matt DeVries, the bass player for Fear Factory at the time, that was his last tour, and he's telling me he's going to retire. And after that summer, Ministry was going to take time off and go do a record, and Fear Factory was going to start up again. So I was like, well, seems like a good time to make the transitions, So I had finished my last show with Ministry on a Friday night at a festival somewhere in Canada, and then the following afternoon I did my first gig with Fear Factory at that same festival. So
how you do it? How you learn?
I spent like a month out while out on tour with Ministry. I spent a month, just rehearsing all the Fear Factory stuff on my own.
Okay. But already happened to you that someone called you, hey, Tony, are you available? Here are the songs. Can you be ready for next week? Something like that.
Well, being in Soulfly was kind of like that, because like in the 3.5 years I was in that band, I think we only rehearsed. We only had like 3 rehearsals. So, everything was like, if Max wanted to add a new song to the set, he would just like, all right, let's go sound check, and we try the song at sound check. So
really,
yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah, and like, we'd get through the song and like, that felt all right, that's okay. We do it tonight then. I'm like, fuck, okay, dude. But that's Max. He's punk rock like that. He's just like, whatever, let's just fucking get up there and jam.
How was that time with Soulfly?
Oh, it was great, man. I had a good time. Getting the jam with Max.
But what's kind of stressful to learn the songs very quickly?
Well, I mean, it definitely kept me on my toes. Because even though we would have a set list, Max would call out random songs that we hadn't played in like, the whole tour. And so like I after a while I stopped calling them set lists and started calling them loose outlines because you never know when Max is going to throw another song in there. So it kept you on your toes though. So it was a good experience.
Okay. No, but I guess it was cool.
Yeah, definitely. And then just to get to play some of the old Sepultura songs with Max,
Hmm.
and then getting to do the Cavalera Conspiracy with both Max and Igor, and yeah, that
Did
was
you do
incredible.
you
Yeah.
did that too? The
Oh yeah.
Caliber Conspiracy?
Yeah. Yeah. I got to do that a couple times. The last time I did it, we got to play, or I got to play the whole Roots record with them.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
That's very cool.
yeah.
But how that happened is that you contact the band and say, "Hey guys, if you ever
Well,
need a bass player," or they just call you and say, "Hey Tony, we need
sort
you."
of. Uh, but it's just it's been so weird. Just like I said, I'm fucking lucky because things have just fallen in place for me one after another. Like the way I got the Soulfly gig, um, I was playing with Prong, and we were main support for, or not main support, yeah, we were main support for Soulfly on a tour, and uh, at the time, their bass player at the time, Bobby Burns, in the middle of the tour, he had expressed to me his desire to quit playing for Soulfly. And so when that tour was over, Tommy Victor um, said he was going to take some time off from Prong because he had some obligations with Danzig. And so I was like, well, fuck, what am I going to do? Well, let me hit up Gloria, Max's wife, who manages him, and I was like, well, let me hit up Gloria, and if they need somebody, I'm available. And so I sent her an email, and within a few months, I was driving down to Arizona to go do uh, my one of very few rehearsals with the band. So,
All right. No, that's crazy.
yeah,
But
I know. It's just like one thing falling into another, and
yeah, and you never stop. There's never that period that you stop. Like,
yeah, I
yeah,
mean, there was only really one time, um, in 2016 when I was playing in Fear Factory, and I think that's when their legal problems started, and so the band only worked like 3 months that whole year. So
mm,
I was a lot, and I was just like sitting around waiting for the next gig to come around, and it never did, and it wasn't until the end of the year, that Dino told me, hey man, look, I don't know when we're gonna be able to tour again. If
mm.
you get another gig, take it. And I think at that point, it uh, it just so happened that who was it that I think it was uh, I got the call from Cavalera Conspiracy to do to tour with them.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So like,
For me, it's a shame that Fear Factory stuff. I don't know all the details. I know there's kind of some legal problem that
yeah,
we're
yeah,
not gonna ask you.
yeah. Stuff I don't know a whole lot.
Yeah,
Like
but
Fear Factory's not my band. That's Dino and
sure.
Burton.
Yeah,
It's
but
their
especially
business.
today, I think we are celebrating the anniversary of Obsolete.
Yeah. I saw.
So,
Yeah,
so shout out to Dino and Burton and everyone.
yeah.
Well, this was a great record.
Yeah, that's
Um,
that's definitely my favorite Fear Factory record. Uh, Fear Factory was the first band to take Static X out on tour,
really?
and yeah, and they were touring on that Obsolete record. So every time I listen to that record, just brings back so many really cool memories.
Can you share some of those memories with us?
Just being on tour for the first time and
Mm.
being in an RV and puking my guts out, because drinking,
Party
blacking
too
out,
much.
and then everybody, and then all the spine shank guys watching me stumble out of the RV and going, there's that drunken idiot. I'm like, what did I do? Just, so many good times, man. Your first time out on tour, and just,
How was that?
dream.
That was exactly like you were imagining that, or
Yeah, I really had no idea what to expect. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be like Motley Crue or anything.
sure.
But
No, because in movies, the people party and
yeah, well,
play and party and play. But if you do that for a couple of months, you will be
yeah,
like, no, man, I'm good.
yeah. Well, that went for 5-6 years. I wasn't living that way. Partying every night and getting
Sure.
drunk.
Because I don't know if playing with a hangover is a good experience.
Well, when you're younger, you can get away with it,
Hmm.
but after a certain age, it just starts like not being fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, and now it's like, fuck that, dude. Like, it's not worth it. I can't
Sure.
handle the hangovers anymore. It's like an all day thing where you're just like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
It's
then
like your body needs more time to regenerate.
yeah, and then to try and get on stage and
Yeah,
fucking, yeah, it's just not worth it, man.
yeah. No, I completely agree. But well, you have all those memories,
Yeah,
and that's how you meet
I
Dino.
don't remember.
That's how you meet Dino. You connect with Dino during that tour.
Yeah. I mean, I had met Dino once back in the like early '90s, like at a backyard gig somewhere in South Central, maybe.
Bajak gear.
Backyard gigs, yeah. Like when I was in my old death metal band, we would do gigs in people's backyards and
Okay.
the house, and it was just
CYI.
underground. Yeah, the underground death metal scene in LA back then. So yeah, I'd met Dino briefly, but I didn't really get to know Dino until we went out on tour with them, and
Hmm.
and Dino took me under his wing, showed me the ropes of touring, So yeah, he's been a great mentor to me and a good friend.
Oh, no, that's great. And what do you think you connect in that way? Was a personality?
Yeah, I mean we're both big jokers, we're always cracking jokes and making fun of each other.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And your last name Campos is
yeah,
Mexican,
yeah. We're both Mexicanos, so yeah.
but you're Mexican or your father was Mexican?
Yeah, well, my parents are immigrants from the state of Michoacan.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. So you born in
yeah.
Mexico?
My parents came to the States in was it like mid late '60s, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then had a family here.
No, that's cool. Well, me, I'm from Chile,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but I live in France since I don't know. I think it would be like 8 years already.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, no, it was cool. Well, we meet briefly at a festival called Motoculture.
Oh, yeah. That name sounds familiar.
I just say hi to you. You were next to the bus. I was invited backstage because I'm a friend with John Beckdale. The guy from the Keyboards.
Oh, yeah.
You guys played with Ministry at that time. Was
Yeah.
and it was crazy because I remember John told me well, we need to catch our flight around 1. I say, okay, and where's the airport? It's in Paris. Okay, so you have to go. you have to, after the show, pack your thing.
Yeah, I was like, thank you, good night. Get the fuck out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you remember that, or was like that?
Well, unfortunately, that happens more often than I'd like it to. Just like
Sure.
playing, like, let's go. We got to get the fuck out of here. We got to get to the next town, or we got
Yeah.
to get to the airport. That's just the way it is out on tour.
Yeah,
at the
sure.
time,
Yeah. No,
I
but
remember there was one time out with the Cavalleras in Europe where in a span of 24 hours we had to do like 3 shows. So like we started
what?
we started one
How is
show.
that possible?
Yeah, dude, I don't know how the fuck we pulled it off, man, but it was crazy. Like we did the show like 11 p.m. pack up, go to the airport, fucking get on the flight, go to the next country, play in the afternoon, and
Okay.
then pack up again, and then fly to the next country, and then go and then hit the stage like at midnight. Yeah, it was crazy, man. I don't know how the fuck we pulled it off, but we did. And then after, we were just like, "Fuck."
That's when you realize that's when you realize you have a good tour manager.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that guys are not very appreciated. They're not famous, but they make the stuff like that work.
If they can't put it together, us dumb musicians aren't gonna fucking pull it off,
No, that's crazy. And there's a special memory that you have here playing in Europe, because I know it's very different from. Well, it depends on the country. There's a country that you really don't understand shit, like for example France or Czech Republic or.
Yeah, like like I'm lucky that there's at least 2 countries that I know the language in Europe, Spain and England. So at least I got 2. Most people only have 1.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And and it happened to you that people talk to you in Spanish, like in Spain, for example?
Well, yeah, in Spain, I always approach people and ask,
because the Spanish is really different than, for example,
yeah, definitely, and they definitely know you're not from Spain. Yeah, there was one time out on tour with Static X in Europe, and our bus broke down, and the driver just abandoned us, and we just happened to be in Spain, and the guy managed to coast the bus down a hill into a truck stop, and then he was like, "Well, good luck to you guys," and he took off. We're like, "Fuck, what are we gonna do?" We had to get to the next gig, and we're like, "Fuck, what are we gonna do?" So, everybody looks at me. You speak Spanish? Here. They grab the phone book from the truck stop. Here, start calling people. They're like, "Fuck, okay." So I had to get on the phone and start calling people, and immediately when they talk to me, they're like, "Oh wait, you're not from Spain." Yeah, it's different. Yeah, they have kind of a lisp to.
Yeah, it's their accent. It's like buenas tardes.
Yeah, the lisp. Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't notice. For them, it's normal. But when you came from South America, you can, notice right away.
There's certain places in South America that kind of have the lisp. Like I've kind of heard it in like Argentina. A couple other places, but
Argentina.
Yeah. but the biggest lisp is definitely in Spain, and
Yeah,
they don't say you do you speak Spanish? They don't say hablas español. They say oh, hablas castellano.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just weird distinctions, but I, I I understand it and I can communicate with them more or less. So
sure. No, but it's okay. It's I think it's already good that you have two language. You know, so
yeah,
most of the people you have one,
yeah,
especially in
come in
United
handy.
States. Yeah, especially in United States. I don't know if they're really open to multi-language. For example, here in France, kids they have option to learn or English or German or Spanish, and pretty
Yeah, I know.
much
I,
they want.
when I was in school, I don't know if they still do it now, but when I was going through school, you had the option of Spanish or French, and I took the easy way out. I was like, well, fuck, I already know Spanish. Fuck, I'll just do that.
You were
But
Spanish.
now,
You
but
were
now,
speaking. Sorry.
yeah, now looking back, I was like, fuck, I should have learned French. But yeah, like Spanish was my first language. My parents, speak Spanish, and I mostly speak Spanish when talking with them.
Mm,
Outside of my parents, I really don't speak a whole lot of Spanish,
mm,
um, or unless I'm doing Asesino lyrics, and
mm.
then that Spanish I don't want to say around my parents because they'll put soap in my mouth or something. But yeah, I don't even know what the hell I was talking about. Um,
Spanish.
yeah.
Uh,
Spanish was my first language, and yeah, I learned English from watching TV.
mm.
Parents just sat me down in front of the TV, and yeah,
And you grew up in Los Angeles.
yeah, born and raised in LA.
And how was that growing up? You
Well,
you
since I mean, since I don't have anything else to compare it to, I didn't grow up anywhere else, so I mean, it was just home for me. Yeah, and I still live here in LA, and if I have my choice, I'll die here. I mean, this is home to me, and yeah, having toured the world and been to a lot of places I never thought I would see.
mm,
Um, it's still always cool to come back home to LA, man.
sure. And with the current situation, um, I don't know. I guess you had plans. You you had plans
Yeah,
for.
as in past tense.
Yeah,
Fucked up, but yeah, we should be touring, doing some touring right now, having just dropped a new record, but
mm,
we we got lucky. We were able to do one show at least.
mm.
But yeah, it's fucking crazy out there.
And what do you think about the option of streaming or do something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something we can definitely look into the future. Depending on how long this thing is going to keep going. You know,
Sure.
um, it could be the case that some parts of the world open up the touring before others. Um,
Yeah, I think here in Europe there's some places that you are allowed to play, but like I don't know East Europe stuff like that. But
yeah,
the main country like I don't know Germany, France, Spain is at the moment it's not possible.
not happening now. So, I mean, we'll see what happens in 6 8 months. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a band. I don't know if you well there's a kind of young metal band that they kind of released their new album. I'm trying to find the link. They released the new album, and you had the choice to buy the record and a ticket for the streaming. All it the same. And was it the same platform? I found it genius because
Yeah, that's
streaming
actually
by itself is kind of
yeah, but if
hard to sell.
yeah, add a bonus
But
to it.
if you package with something else and also allow you to interact with the band, they play a song and they can answer your message, for example.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, that's a good idea.
yeah, I think I know the company that is making that, but I can Underroad, I think is the band.
Yeah, I know. Asesino got an offer to do like a streaming gig like that. But we decided that what little time we do have to
Mm.
work, we should spend trying to you know make another record. Because it's been like 16 years since the last one, so
Sure,
we're overdue.
sure. Now let me show you this really quick because not only for you is for you know I think it's not a bad option. It's Underoath. Their
Oh,
album is
hmm.
Observatory, and this is just the general
Standard
streaming with T-shirt
T-shirt
or a
and stuff.
plaque,
Hmm, yeah.
and you have everything on the same side.
Hmm.
So I don't know. Maybe I know
Yeah.
it sucks. It's not the same.
I mean, hey, you gotta think outside the box.
Mm,
You improvise, adapt, overcome.
yeah. And I think there are already, for example, for DJs in England or here in Europe, there's already places that you can rent that have lights, cameras, everything.
Yeah. Hmm.
So you just rent it and do your stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a couple clubs that are doing that too out here in
Mm,
LA. Like I think the Whiskey A Go Go is doing something similar to that.
really, that's
Yeah.
great. No, because it's really a
Yeah, I mean,
weird.
yeah, and they got to make business somehow, and if they can't,
Mm,
shows, with people actually attending, then
mm,
I guess that's the next best thing, is to rent it out for bands to perform and do live streams.
yeah, because for me, the live stream is like, for example, for a gig, of course, you pay the ticket to see the band, but also you are able to sell merch.
Yeah. Hmm.
So the thing is just find a way to make the connection between the live stream, the interaction with the audience, and selling stuff. Like trying to convert that in money because likes, you can pay your rent with likes. That's
Yeah.
clear.
Only that was the case. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would like to talk about, if you don't mind, about this project regeneration.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So there's what we can buy right now. It's like these are packs.
Yeah.
These are,
Speaking of merchandise,
yeah, project regeneration. uh, VIP packages. Oh, that's cool.
yeah, that was for when we were out on tour, and if you wanted a VIP meet and greet, that kind of stuff. But
And a
that's
guitar.
yeah, there were even one or two guitars that would get given away every night as part of the VIP packages. So yeah, that was a really cool thing
That's
for
cool. That's a what brand? Dean?
oh, Dean, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Okay. No, that's great. So, can you tell us a little about this project regeneration?
Yeah. that the whole thing started with these 5 demos that I got that were the last things Wayne had done, and yeah, I had initially received them not too long after Wayne had passed away, and I didn't really dig into them a whole lot. I guess it was too soon. But it wasn't until 2016 when I
Mhm.
had all that downtime,
Yeah.
waiting, while I was working with Fear Factory, um, and I revisited that stuff and saw the potential um, for that stuff, and that's when I started reaching out to Kenny and Koichi and just saying, "Hey, man, you guys want to, you know, help me finish this stuff up?"
Mm.
And so as the years went on, we were getting closer and closer to the 20th anniversary of Wisconsin Death Trip,
Mm.
and I had always felt that Wayne never got the send off he deserved. So I was like, "Look, guys, if we're ever gonna do anything, the that time's coming up, the 20th anniversary. We can do finish up these songs,
Mm.
uh, release songs, and then do a proper send off to Wayne, and it just kind of snowballed from there. And
Yeah. No, for
before,
me it was awesome because I always was a fan of Static X. So just know that there is still, you know, music was a great news.
yeah,
And well, it sucks that the release was in the middle of a pandemic, but
yeah,
that's life.
yeah,
Uh,
shit happens, man.
yeah, no, but still, I think I was listening to it today and was a great album. And but the vocals are Wayne or is the new guy because
Most
it
of them,
sounds the same.
most of them are Wayne. This some of them are Zero. Some of them, some of them are me.
Mm.
Uh, but and then there's one song with Al Jorgensen on it. But the majority of it is Wayne singing.
Yeah, because I say, what the fuck? He sing exactly like Wayne. No, that's
Yeah,
great.
Zero does a great tribute to Wayne in that
And
respect.
Zero is like a mystery character. We can
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. The idea behind that was, first, when we discussed uh, doing this live,
Mm.
and so the question was, what's the best way to represent Wayne in a live setting? And so first, the first thing to come up was the hologram thing, and that got shot down pretty quickly. Um, the thing about Static X was that energy and interaction between the 4 guys on stage, and you just don't get that energy with a hologram. So
Yeah,
that's not gonna
not the
work.
same.
Yeah, so it's not the same as having like a physical.
I
In
think it could work with a pop artist, you know,
yeah,
or but
yeah.
with
It
aesthetic,
wasn't
it's
it wasn't gonna work
complicated.
for us. So then we were like, okay, what else can we do? So then we did the X robot head,
Mm.
um, and we did a video with that, and it looks cool, it looks awesome. But logistically, it just wasn't going to work because once you have that mask on or that helmet, whatever you want to call it, you're blind. You can't see anything. So we'd have to like walk the guy
Yeah.
out on stage and then make sure he doesn't fall off stage, And yeah, logistically that would have been a nightmare. So we're like, that's not going to work. So then, you know, so then we're
You
like,
know,
okay, what else? What else can we do?
that kind of ideas is great on paper, I think.
Yeah, yeah, but in practice, it just wasn't practical. So then we were like, we thought of all those merchandise items we used to have with of skulls with Wayne's hair and beard, and we're like, oh, why don't we try doing something like that? And so we gave that idea to a friend of ours, Lainey, who does masks. And she's worked on masks for Slipknot, John Five, a bunch of other high profile guys. So she knows what she's doing, and so we gave the idea to her, and she came back with the Zero mask, and we were like, yeah, this is gonna fucking work, and it was the coolest way we could think of to represent Wayne on stage and keep the focus on Wayne as opposed to us saying, hey, here's Static X with the new singer. That's not what we were doing.
Yeah. Was more like homage.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like the focus is to remembering Wayne and remembering the first record and all the good times.
Yeah. Because I think there's a lot of people that didn't get it. They were saying, yeah, you want to do with money.
Well, because they first see it and not knowing the kind of dude Wayne was, Wayne would have fucking thought it was awesome, and he would have laughed his ass off at the whole concept of it.
Sure.
So yeah, for us it was perfect, and yeah, even some of the people that were skeptical about it, once they actually saw it, came to the shows and experienced it, they were like, yeah, this works.
Yeah, but can you explain a little for the concept behind Static X? Because it's really, for me, it's really, why Static X, for example?
Why the name?
Yeah.
Or
was it just like a cool name?
Well, it was because we went through we were called Drill before that, when I first started jamming with Kenny and Wayne. The band was called Drill, and we did a few gigs under that name. But then as we transitioned into this, into what became the Static X sound, we're looking at names, and Wayne and Kenny and myself were big Star Trek fans.
No, you're a Star Trek fan?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were all into what was it? The Next Generation.
The Next Generation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was still on the air.
I'm a tricky.
That time. So there was an episode that came on, where the Enterprise is its usual peril, and the solution was to construct a static warp bubble around the Enterprise, and that's where the static thing came from.
Wow.
And then Static Face got thrown around for a little bit, but then we just stuck with Static. And then it wasn't until we got our record deal and we were in the studio making Wisconsin Death Trip that our attorneys were telling us we needed to change the name just to be safe, just to make sure nobody sues us. So while we were in the studio, we had a board, or I think it was the side of the console, where we had like little strips of tape with like all these different names, and we came up with all kinds of fucking bullshit. And the way the X got added, our manager had received an offer to have one of our songs appear on the Bride of Chucky soundtrack. And, we were like, yeah, fuck yeah. But they needed a name. They needed the band name. Well, okay, great. What's the band called? And and you know, our manager just made the call right there, Static X. And that's how we got the X. And so he does this, and then he comes back to us in the studio. We have no idea he just did this. So he comes back to us in the studio, and we're like, guys, you know, I got good news and bad news for you. I got your song on the Bride of Chucky soundtrack. That's the good news. The bad news is I had to change your name, and you're now Static X. And we're like, what? No, what the fuck? You know? And we were so pissed. Like we were actually like telling people the X is silent. You know, we're like,
He tried to sell you the name like a good liar, like a good manager. Like, guys, Static X is the shit.
Yeah, no, he wasn't like that. He was like, I mean, he was like, yeah, don't worry about it, man. It's gonna be cool, you know. But you know, us being the guys in the band, you know, we were just like, oh man, you know, it sucks, and we were.
So it seems it happened very. Your success was happened very quickly. You were kind of not expected it.
Well, I mean, it depends how you look at it, because I mean, we did slug it out in the local scene there for like a good 5 years before any of that happened. But once the ball got rolling, yeah, I guess you could say it happened pretty quick. I mean, from the time Des Fafara and Meegs from Cold Chamber saw us play at this shitty little bar in Hollywood, to the point where we got our record deal, that happened in like about a year and a half.
So how the record deal came up was thanks to the guys from Cold Chamber?
Well, no, the Cold Chamber guys got us our first gigs on the Strip, opening for all the popular bands that at the time, you know, Cold Chamber, System of a Down, Snot, you know, all those bands that were on the cusp of breaking out and being and getting big and being national acts. And we caught the tail end of that. And you know, because the Cold Chamber guys saw us and they thought we were cool, and they gave us the numbers to all the promoters on the Strip, and you know, within a few months we were opening for all those bands. But as far as the record deal, that came through management. Our manager at the time, Andy Gould, he had a relationship with the people at Warner Brothers Records, and he brought us to the record label.
That's awesome. How would it feel to, you know, after 5 years of trying, and there you go, the record label?
Well,
was it like campaign or?
Well, no, it wasn't even that. I mean, those moments didn't really come until we were out on tour, you know, and then like I didn't have to drive anywhere, so I could get drunk and not worry about it. But when things started happening for the band, it was a really you know, really trippy and pivotal moment in my life, because at the time I was going to school. I was learning mechanical drafting, and the school I was going to, they canceled my program, and I'd finished 1 year and I still had one more year to go, and they canceled my program. And I was and the school told me, you either have to change your major, start again, or go to another school. And I was like, fuck, what the fuck am I going to do with my life? You know, because music was the last thing I thought I'd ever do for a living. So, you know, before that, I was a computer science major in college at a state university. And then, you know, I ran out of money, so I stopped doing that. And then, you know, so I went to this trade school to learn drafting. And, you know, so at that point in my life, I was just like, fuck, what the fuck am I going to do with my life?
Yeah, I'm running out of options.
I was like, what the fuck? And then shit started happening for the band. I was like, well, let's see where this goes. And, you know, 20 years later, here I am, you know.
No, that's great. It's a
Yeah,
great story. It's like sometimes you have to go all in, and
I like I said, man, I'm just a lucky motherfucker.
no, but you were consistent. Since the first time you buy a crappy bass and you start. Of course,
I mean,
some.
I mean, music. I knew playing bass and music was something I would do for the rest of my life,
Mm,
and it's something I've always enjoyed ever since I got into it. But I had no idea or any aspirations that this was going to be how I would make my living. You know,
sure. No, for
like a
me, to
cool
be
hobby.
successful in music, you have to be, you have to do the work, but also there's
Yeah, definitely.
a
You got
random aspect.
but yeah, luck is a big thing too because I know plenty of
Or
guys.
networking. You
Yeah,
you call this
that too.
day networking.
Yeah,
Know the
that
right people at the right time.
exactly. And again, that goes back to the being able to get along with people because if you meet people and they think you're a dick, they're not going to fucking want to work with you.
Of course.
So, um, but yeah, you got to put in the work too. And like if I got offered a gig and I hadn't played my bass in a year, and then I go and try and do a gig, and I don't get the gig because my chops aren't up to speed. So
Mm,
you got to put in the work too. But it certainly I've been lucky with all the opportunities I've gotten, but I've put in the work so that I can capitalize on those opportunities.
sure, sure. Because another best player, Maca Valera, it will say, "Yeah,
Yeah,
we
because
were
if you don't
gonna
put in
play."
the work, it's bullshit, you know.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know.
and I know plenty of dudes that are awesome musicians that put in the work, but they just don't get the opportunities.
Yes,
So it's a roll of the dice too, you know.
yes.
So,
No, no. I think it's a mix of everything. It's like
yeah,
you have the musicianship, but also the attitude, especially in this kind of genre. It didn't work if you are now some best player, but you don't move, you don't transmit nothing. When we can see play with any of Fear Factory, Asesino, Static X, we can feel your energy, on the stage. You know, there's no, there's something
well,
special. There's
it's just me having fun, you know.
Yeah, of course,
I,
but
lo- I,
not all the people have that. It's like, I don't know, like in wrestling, for example. In wrestling, they could be a guy that make flips and everything, but they don't have attitude. You know. So I think in music it's kind of similar, but it's my humble opinion. And you have, I don't
okay.
know, since you're, thanks for sharing all your stories, and you're a cool dude. You do the work, and you are able to do this kind of connection with people, that what people call you. You know.
Yeah, like I said, I got to be doing something right because people keep hiring me to play bass for them. So
Yeah. No, that's great.
eternally grateful
And
to anyone and everyone that has given me the opportunities to do what I've been able to do, man. And
uh, and do you
it's
have any advice for people from this generation, from young people? Because I feel they get frustrated very quickly. You
well,
know.
yeah, because like even like back in the early days of touring with Static X, people would come up and ask what advice you have, and I always say the first thing I always say is if you don't love what you're doing, find something else to do. Because yeah,
Yes.
especially this. I mean, chances are, it's not going to be your career. Like the odds are or stacked against you. It's not going to be your career. But if you love what you do, if you live for those moments that you get to be on stage and play your instrument and or just jam with your friends, then it's worth it
Hmm.
because at the end of the day, that's what you really love to do is play your instrument and
Hmm.
make music and jam with your friends. So whether
Yeah.
or not you get paid for it, that doesn't But if you go in like I've met plenty of people that that go in like, yeah, I'm gonna be a star and I'm gonna be rich. Like, well, all right, well,
Really?
good for you, and especially here in Hollywood, there's plenty of
Mm.
that have that or had that attitude and came to Hollywood thinking, yeah, I'm gonna be a movie star, I'm gonna be a rock star, and then they don't achieve those goals,
Hmm.
and then they spend the rest of their lives being bitter.
Hmm.
And but it wasn't the main motivation wasn't the love of whatever art form they were trying to
Hmm.
pursue, whether it was playing music or acting or etc. um if you don't have that love, then all the struggles and work that goes into it it doesn't it doesn't make it worth it.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
I
that's
completely
why I always
agree.
say, if you don't love what you're doing, find something else to do, and find what you love to do, and then figure out a way to get paid for it.
Hmm. It's like the quote that say, "Find a job." No, find a job that you love, and you will never work again.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like I haven't worked the job in 20 years, so yeah. Because
No, I. That's great. And Tony, I really thank you for your time. We talked
thanks for having me, man.
about more than 1 hour. I know you're a busy guy, so I don't want to. I don't know
Oh
if you have stuff to
yeah,
do or
I do actually. I got a bunch of shit
yeah.
I need to
So
take care of, but
I thank you for your
yeah, this is
time
fun. Yeah, this is fun.
and yeah, muchas
All right.
gracias.
Yeah. What are we?
Okay, so any sorry before any promotion you want to do the release of the last Static X
Yeah,
album.
Project Regeneration, Volume 1 out now.
Yes,
Volume 2 we're working on, and I'm not going to say
volume
when.
2.
Yeah, there's Volume 2. Yeah, oh, you didn't know. There's Volume 2 in the works.
So
Uh,
you're giving us the exclusive.
well, no, I mean, we've been talking about this for
No,
a
I'm
couple months.
kidding.
But yeah, see, Volume 1. So there's Volume 2 coming out. I'm not going to say when because I don't want to disappoint people again because we had to you know, uh, delay Volume 1 several times. And
Mm.
so I don't want to, set another date and not make that. So we're working on Volume 2, and we'll let you know when we think we can release it. You know, and with the
Did
whole
you?
COVID thing happening too, it just
Yes.
so
Did
much
you
in the air.
ever? Did you ever consider the idea to make remixes of the volume one?
Well, yeah, that's definitely an option. It's something we've done before. Um, Maybe not a whole record, but like B sides. I know,
Or
a couple,
just
yeah, a couple
yeah,
songs, Wisconsin Death Trip. We had remixes done by Paul Barker Ministry, John Bechtel from the Ministry, Killing Joke, all the great bands he's played in.
yeah,
Um,
that's great.
yeah, so I would definitely love to get some
I
remixes
can I
done
can
for
I
sure.
can just offer you my to make you a remix. I already make some remix for I don't know Power Flow.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, send them.
So You can check it out if you like it.
All right.
Vigilante remixing Static X. It would be a dream come true.
Yeah. Cool.
So thank you very much, and well, I hope to see you soon on tour. I wish you the best with the new release. I'm looking forward to listen volume 2. And if you ever need a remix, just I'm right here.
Man.
So
All right.